Right, guys, welcome back to the show. I'm sure you guys are aware of this current theory that I have regarding SEC and now BlackRock and MicroStrategy, and you will not believe this. So this is mind-blowing, right? This is mind-blowing. I think I've got to the bottom of this, right? So it's a conspiracy against Binance, but a lot of planning, a lot of strategy, a lot of brilliant minds all came together to plan this. That's what I believe, at least, right? None of this may be true, but if you're going to watch this video to the end, so I'm going to try and explain what I think is happening here. So BlackRock, let's start off with this, right? So BlackRock, we know, is the company of all companies, right? It's the biggest giant on the planet. If BlackRock decides to bless any company, then they've made it, full stop, right? You know, there is no other bigger company than BlackRock on this planet right now, currently sitting at 9.4 or something trillion dollars in asset management. This is actual assets, right? And they're holding. I'm not even going to the part where how much money they have in their banks. That's a different story. This is just assets. So that if you just take the actual assets, it's currently worth 9.4 approximately trillion dollars, right? So we know BlackRock is no small fish, right? It's the company of companies. I mean, probably all of the Fortune 500 companies are, are there because of BlackRock, right? Or have made it because of BlackRock. BlackRock is not a small company. Let's just put it that way. So it's big globally. They have a massive impact globally. Banking institutions, financial institutions, tech companies, you name it, whatever it is, right? They have their hands on everything, and they've pretty much blessed the most successful companies. So why am I talking about BlackRock? Well, BlackRock recently has announced that it wants to do a Bitcoin ETF, a spot Bitcoin ETF. Now, spot Bitcoin ETF is a very good thing, right? Compared to all the other rubbish ETFs that have existed, right? So they're just paper money. We don't want paper BTC. We have 21 million BTC. We want to deal with 21 million BTC. Full stop. Price goes up and down. We want to see that on chain. So it makes all the difference for us, right? And I'm excited because honestly, I think it's a good thing if this passes through. So they filed the SEC, the application to the SEC, and people are on both sides. Like, there are 50-50. Some people are saying, well, this is bad for the community. Other viewers say this isn't great for the community. I'm on the great side, so I think it's actually great for the community. It's really going to do something. Now, ultimately, BlackRock isn't doing any favors to anybody, right? BlackRock doesn't invest into companies or institutions or decentralized protocols, right? Unless they're going to be making a shit ton of money. And this is what they're going to be doing. They're going to be making a shit ton of money. So, people who have been involved with BTC XYZ, well, we're either going to really make it, or we're just going to be left alone or left behind, one or the other, right? So people who have already bought, they're going to really make money right now because of what's about to happen. And people who will not make anything on BTC are just going to be the spectators, right? People who are on the sidelines, who have always been on the sidelines. This is going to be pretty interesting. I want to see where this leads to, but let's talk about the conspiracy, right? So the conspiracy is this, right? So this is crazy. Imagine this, right? This is going to be unbelievable, right? Imagine we are this massive company or institution in the USA, right? And we have global power, right? So we are a $9.4 trillion asset management company, or asset under management company, who is in the USA, established as a USA company, right? Heavily involved with the government, both sides, Democrats or liberals or the other party, Republicans, it doesn't matter, right? So we're involved with every party. We have, people in the Senate, in the Congress, sitting there doing our dirty job for us, right? Doing our laundry for us. Let's just say that, right? Because that's what it is there, right? So they got people out there making sure that the shirts are ironed properly, right? That's what's happening here. So this company turns around and says, we want to do this. Obviously, they have a very good reason to do this because they just don't do anything for free. So they're going to be doing this. And so they filed the application, and in the application, they clearly state that Coinbase, a publicly listed company, will be doing the management of the fund, the buying and selling, the on-chain stuff, right? Coinbase custody will be dealing with that. And I looked at that and I was like, okay, so this is a highly regulated company called BlackRock, who is now giving the golden opportunity, if not a diamond opportunity, for Coinbase to shine. Only Coinbase, nobody else, even though currently Coinbase has 1/10 of, if not even less, of volume and liquidity than Binance. So Binance was obviously a clear competition. So instead of giving Binance a license, XYZ, let's get rid of Binance. Now, we know how easily Binance gives up because, and this is me, by the way, I'm talking on behalf of BlackRock, right? So I'm acting as if I'm BlackRock, so don't get mixed up here. So BlackRock knows this, right? So knows that Binance gives up very easily because of the founder. The government just likes to point out, like, oh, he's Chinese, but he's actually not a Chinese. He's actually a Canadian Chinese, if I'm correct, or something like this. Can't remember, but something else, right? So yes, he has some heritage there, right? Some bloodline there, but he's not 100% Chinese. Anyway, so they like to point that Chinese company, Chinese influence, Chinese this, China, right? You remember how, what's his name used to do it? What's his name? Donald Trump used to do it. China, right? So that's what's going on right now. So it's all about China. Anyway, leave all of that. So they know he gives up very easily because he gave up in Canada. He left Canada. When he didn't get the regulation, he left that. He just recently left Netherlands, right? Because again, they don't want it. They didn't give him a license. Boom, he left. But again, they're all connected. Everybody is connected. So Binance is being driven out of the market, right? In this big race that's about to come, right? This situation where a massive wealth transfer is going to happen, right? Massive wealth transfer. We're talking billions and billions, hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars of money flowing into the crypto sphere. And believe me, before they even done this thing, and this is my gut feeling, right? There's nothing official, obviously. I can't prove anything here. And you know, they're going to deny everything, so let's just leave it there, right? I can't prove, they will deny, full stop, right? Even if I could, they will still deny, so it doesn't matter. So what's happening is they've forefronted everybody, right? They went out there, they bought their ETH bags, they bought their BTC bags, and I think this whole conspiracy is a bigger picture, right? So massive market manipulation behind the scenes done, and you know, they're, put it this way, they're a massive giant of a company. They could hide anything in the paperwork if they really choose to, right? And that's what's really happened, in my opinion, at least, right? So I think BlackRock has played a very dirty game to manipulate the market, accumulate as many as they can, and I'm talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum and maybe a few other altcoins, right? And one of those altcoins I could think of is USDC, right? Because again, they don't want foreign countries or foreign projects to take the liquidity, right? That's what they don't want. So they're playing this thing, and they know that Binance is probably going to be driven out of USA. So Binance US, the only other US thing, is going to be shut down. They know this, right? It doesn't affect Binance, by the way. So only like, what, $4 billion worth out of $40 billion of liquidity. It really doesn't bother Binance. It doesn't affect Binance as much, right? In my opinion, at least, right? I don't think Binance is affected. But yes, there is a massive market of users there. Now, these users could do whatever, VPN, whatnot. That's a different story. We're not even going to go there. But Binance wants to operate in a regulatory framework with the regulators, but clearly is not getting it. And now we understand why, because they're getting kicked out because they're about to boost Coinbase. And the justification would be Coinbase is a publicly listed company, right, which has which BlackRock has probably invested. If not, they're probably going to, you know, buy 50% right now, and they'll probably pay them over the market rate right now to buy this. So Coinbase is going to massively benefit from this. Coinbase custody is about to get the biggest boost of their lifetime. I'm talking trillions of dollars, right? So my God, there's a lot of money about to make, because Coinbase, just from management fees, is going to make hundreds of millions of dollars, right? And we're talking, I mean, the time frame I'm going to give is like 5 years to maybe a decade, right? 10 years, right? But Coinbase is going to make hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, right? And you're going to see this, by the way, you're going to see this reflected when Ben Armstrong, is it Ben Armstrong? No, Brian Armstrong, sorry, my bad. Brian Armstrong, I get the name mixed up. I don't know why they have the same surname, but anyway, when Brian Armstrong from Coinbase, the founder, one of the co-founders of Coinbase, watch how his tone will change. So recently, you know that Coinbase and Binance both got sued by the SEC, right? Coinbase has promised to fight this whole thing, and again, I think this is a complete charade. I think this is a complete, what do you call this, smoke and mirrors, right? So basically, it's just smoke out there. All of this is just drama until there's no drama. So that's what's happening right now. Because you can't just sue one company and not sue the other. So sue both of the biggest ones, right? So that's what they're doing. They sue both of them, but one's going to go through while the other doesn't. Now this proves it because they have the backing of BlackRock, right? They have the backing of this massive company who can literally change laws in countries, who can change banking structures, right, if they choose to. That's how crazy this company is. That's how much power this company holds. Remember, the reason I'm saying this is BlackRock has massive shares and influence over mega banks on this planet, right? In fact, they own a massive chunk of Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, KPMG. I mean, this is just to name a few, right? So when it comes to finance and markets, believe me, they own massive shares in these companies, right? If they don't own the entire NASDAQ for, whatever reason. But believe me, they do, right? So this is not an average company. And if they have put their hands on top of Binance, like, on top of Brian and say, oh, Brian, we bless you right now, right? We're Brian Armstrong. We're going to bless you right now. That's what's happening. So he's been blessed. He's been blessed. That's what I'm saying, right? Now, crypto holders, who benefits and who doesn't? So a lot of people will be talking about how short term, everyone's going to be a gainer, and the long term, everyone's going to be a loser. Wrong. Let me explain to you, right? Long term, everybody is a gainer if you buy right now. This is not a financial advice, but if you buy right now, if you've bought already and you're hodling, you are all long-term gainers. BlackRock is going to make millionaires, right? That's what's going to happen. I'm telling you, BlackRock is going to push BTC from where it is now to at least 20x the price, if not even more. I'm telling you, the reason it's going to happen because they're just going to open the floodgates for the real institution to come in, not a small player that comes in that, oh, I'm just going to put a little stash, like my company's worth $1 billion, we're just going to put 100K in there, 1% of whatever. I'm talking massive money coming in, because the way BlackRock works is BlackRock is like the name everybody knows, but what a lot of people don't know, they have hundreds, if not thousands, of subsidiary companies. And when BlackRock opens the floodgate, I'm telling you, all of these subsidiary companies will be pumping money in as well, which in effect will pump the price of BTC, or maybe even dump the price. It doesn't matter, right? But they're not going to dump it to zero because they're in it to make the money. So whatever means, whether they long the market, whether they short the market, whether they do this spot thing and continuously accumulate BTC, that's what they're going to do, right? But this conspiracy doesn't just stop there. The conspiracy is not just about getting Binance out of the country. No, it's actually a little bit more than that as well, right? So again, if you watched it to right now, listen to this part, and that's going to be really interesting. So we know a lot of the countries around the world, Saudi Arabia, Russia, China, XYZ, whatever, like so many countries out there, who are now saying they don't want to use USD. They don't want global USD to be the global reserve currency, right? They want something else. And a few countries actually, they have already suggested they might even have BTC as a secondary form of reserve currency, all right? We can see mining operations, we can see BTC accumulation operations around the globe, right? And I'm smiling because it's so clever. If BlackRock takes over BTC spot ETF, BlackRock buys as many BTC as they can by whatever market manipulation, whether it's up or down. I'm not even going there, right? They literally keep the secondary global reserve currency on a digital framework in USA. So yeah, you don't want the US digital currency, reserve currency? No problem. You have BTC, which is our secondary reserve currency. It's just amazing how these people have thought about this. I was like, wow, if this is how they're thinking, it's on another level, because that's how I'm thinking. So anyway, but that's on another level, right? They're taking control. But what does that control do? The control actually is not there to say, oh, we're going to be still the secondary reserve currency. No, none of that business, believe me. It's a deterrent. It's a deterrent for these countries to pick BTC as a reserve currency. Right? So someone like what's it called? El Salvador, their national currency currently is BTC. Well, now your national currency is my currency. They kind of forcefully take over BTC. And this conglomerate, right, this massive enterprise, BlackRock, actually has the capacity to buy the entire market BTC right now. I mean, what's BTC valuation right now? 500 million, 600 million dollars, right? Or sorry, 600, yeah, something like that. I don't know, 500, 600 billion dollars or whatever, right? They can actually buy that. That's like what, 5% or 10%? I mean, less than 10% anyway. The 5-6% of their valuation. I'm sure they have that kind of surplus cash sitting around somewhere. If not, they'll turn the money printers on, because they also have the power to print money as well, by the way. So imagine, right? And I was looking at that, I was like, wow. So, and the other thing is, now I'm going to get, what I'm going to say is, the other thing is, right? So we've looked at all the positive stuff, right? You know, how they may be using this as a deterrent. There may be, the conspiracy may be that they want to get rid of Binance and get rid of Binance from USA and whatnot. You know, doesn't stop Binance, to be honest, right? So there are positives and negatives, but none of this really matters. You know, ultimately, as I said, BlackRock wants to make money, right? That's the whole idea. BlackRock is going to make a lot of money for everybody. But, and here's the big but, right? Imagine this, right? This enterprise, BlackRock, gets the spot ETF license. Imagine this. Coinbase becomes the next biggest, in fact, if not the biggest exchange on the planet. Coinbase literally has all licenses that they've applied for approved. All right, Coinbase is now the pet of BlackRock. Right, so BlackRock has their hands on his head and they've blessed them. So Coinbase now is making money, tons of money. But BlackRock now has books. They take KYC to another level. They are now peeking into everybody, right? They control, you know, how much you invest, how much you take out, what you do. They bookkeep for you, right? They become the biggest accounting firm on the planet. So you don't really need another accountant, because they're going to account it for you, and they're going to declare that directly to the government. So your decentralization just went down the black hole, right? Full stop. You don't have a decentralization. You become centralized, right? So that's what they're doing. But when you become centralized, there are other perks to that as well, right? Perks not for us, for them, by the way. Perks is that, imagine the CBDC, right, which they're planning to launch, right, the central bank digital currency, whatever form they have, whether they have an institutional version of it or a retail version of it, doesn't matter. Now they know where the money is flowing, right? They can track everybody, and they can decide how much money you're allowed to have or you're not allowed to have, you know? So imagine that, right? Then we have a whole different ecosystem out there. And imagine they can now track the money globally wherever you go, because of how you're going to interact with them. And believe me, there will be other secondary markets coming out of this, right? So BlackRock isn't just going to manage it themselves. BlackRock is probably going to license out the technology to other firms and companies who will also you know, run a spot market on a secondary market, and then, you know, ultimately all the data is coming back to BlackRock. So I can see this being a very, very big thing. But the way I'm looking at it is like, wow, massive conspiracy to get rid of Binance, massive conspiracy to deter other countries from accepting or making BTC as the reserve currency, a massive conspiracy to control flow of information by capturing everybody, getting everybody on board onto the system. Now, one thing we are not sure of, by the way, when BlackRock does this, is it going to be for retail? And that's where the secondary companies come in. So as I mentioned, right, secondary companies may run a secondary service for the retail, but I think mostly it might actually be only for institutional investors, right, or people of high net worth. Because that's who they're going to be targeting. They don't really deal with the public sector or the retail stuff. That's, you know, shrimp business. They don't deal with that, right? They don't go shrimp farming. So that's what's going to happen. But a lot of people have an opportunity, and this is the plus side, an opportunity for this global wealth transfer to happen, because when these people come on board, they're going to be benefiting a lot. Also, another company that's going to be benefiting is Grayscale BTC, because they are kind of intertwined. So GBTC is intertwined with BlackRock, and then you've got MicroStrategy, who's not really much. I think he's just being used for a marketing puppet, nothing else, right? So they're just pulling the strings and get him to market, and it benefits a little bit. But Coinbase is definitely going to be a big beneficiary, what's his name? Grayscale BTC is definitely going to be the big beneficiary. But the way they've put this SEC paper, by the way, if you can go to SEC website, download the thing. I don't have the link, so I can't really give it to you, but you can actually download the SEC filing paper and you can actually read it yourself, right? So if you want to go and do some homework, you can. And it's the way they've presented it, because remember, they have they've launched hundreds of exchanges or hundreds of regulated products, right? And so far, all the ETFs and spot ETFs and whatnot they've done, the record states, right, that they've had one denied out of 571, apparently. 571 accepted, except one was denied. So I don't think the likelihood of this one being a second one is there. I think this is also going to be passing. So they clearly know what they're doing. They're very, very experienced. They have an entire legal entourage with them, right? So they know what to do, how to bend the rules. They know, right? They're going to get it. This ETF is coming. And I think this ETF is very big for the entire ecosystem. So let's see what happens, you know. SEC might bend the rules a little bit, give them this ETF, but it doesn't really mean that they become crypto friendly, by the way. So please do understand this, right? All cryptos can still be classed as a security by Gary Gensler or even a new SEC chair. It doesn't matter. The only thing validation we're getting is BTC, right? So this ETF is a BTC ETF. Yes, we know that BlackRock founders have been buying Ethereum as well. So we know there's an indication that they might also be doing an ETH one later on. But currently they're sticking to the best. They're sticking to BTC and they're only focusing on that. So there's no information. So if anyone says otherwise, right, there is absolutely no information. BlackRock has never mentioned anything about ETH. All right, so please do understand this. They are not doing anything with Ethereum right now. They have other companies and they've invested in other companies who are already doing that. So they are not doing this. But they have officially mentioned BTC, Bitcoin spot ETF, right? Which is going to be very interesting. And they've specifically mentioned Grayscale. They've specifically mentioned Coinbase, right? So you can imagine they've specifically mentioned Coinbase custody will be managing the movement of funds, right? So all of the liquidity situation, they're going to be doing all the buying and selling. So it's going to be very, very interesting. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to break this out to you because that's what I'm seeing. I know a lot of people are talking about the positives, the negatives, or BlackRock itself, or this. No, but ultimately, I'm looking at this in a different perspective. I'm looking at this as a conspiracy. I'm like, okay, there was this massive conspiracy to get rid of Binance, full stop. I can't think of anything else. I'm thinking they got rid of Binance. They're now giving the crown to Coinbase, which is fine. I don't see a problem. By the way, I don't have a problem with any of this. So this is not a bad thing. I'm just making you aware, right? If it is a conspiracy, who cares? I don't really care. Look, one exchange falls, another exchange comes along. You know, FTX went down. Did any other exchange shut down? No. We're still here, you know. We're not like Silvergate, right? When Silvergate shut down, all other banks shut down, right? So we know a few others closed. That's not us. In crypto, they're always going to be centralized and decentralized. There's a perfect balance in, you know, that's what I would like to say at least, right? There's a balance there. Yes, some forms are expensive. Like, for example, our decentralized protocols is so expensive, especially Ethereum. My God, Ethereum really needs to sort their act out. They need to really, really understand this fee structure because it is still a bloody ripoff, right? I tried to send something for $10. It shows me $200 fee. Well, what the hell's wrong with you? What the hell's wrong with you? Have a balance, like, you know, $10, maybe $1. Yeah, fine. I'll pay you 10%, right? But when you start charging people $200 for a $10 transaction, it's like, that's stupid. So then I flipped over to USD, right? And even on USD was showing kind of a similar thing. It was like 100 and something dollars. I was like, seriously? So then I flipped over to Tron. So I'm forced to use another network. So I went into Tron network and I bought some USD from there and it was only $1. So, you know, I'm happy to pay $1, right? I just need to get $10 sent over to somebody. I just want to get this done. So anyway, that's how it is. It's like, when you look at it, it's not just stupid. It's unnecessary. And a lot of people are getting wealthy over this, of course, right? But now that we have proof of stake, and we're getting a reward for staking our thing, I don't see why we have these massive fees included with it, like gas fees, right? I mean, I'm sure they can easily do something to reduce it, because if secondary companies like Polygon Matic, Avalanche, and this and that, people who have built on top of Ethereum or have copied the EVM, if they can keep it cheap, I don't see why these guys can't, right? So I'm hoping that they will basically get their acts together and sort this out, because that changes everything. I mean, Ethereum is one of the most used protocols on the planet. You know, it is one of the most copied blockchain on the planet. There is no denying that, guys. You know, EVM compatible, it is EVM, right? There's no compatibility, it's just EVM, literally a copy paste, right? So, you know, it has proved what it's worth, but itself is being shafted. If Ethereum can fix its fee structure and not be ridiculously expensive, right? Bring it down to a few dollars or maybe a few cents, right? Ethereum will be killing every other blockchain. Because of Ethereum's fees, other blockchains have had the opportunity to come, rise and shine. I can go on now, but listen, I'm not gonna do anything any longer. I hope this video was informative. I hope you understood that what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, you know, and all of this is, by the way, guys, a working theory. It's just a theory. There's no proof, there's no evidence, there's no fact. You know, maybe there is some, but I'm not gonna say there is any facts, because a plausible deniability is very important. So end of the day, this is not a financial advice, this is not a conspiracy, this is none of that business. It's just a working theory. It's like, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, is that a possibility? And I think this could be, but that's about it. It's a working theory. So ultimately, I haven't really set anything in stone yet, but maybe in the future, when somebody sees this video, they'll really understand that if this comes true, right, it's like, okay, this guy actually called it. So let's see what happens. Other than that, like, share, subscribe. I'm going to catch you on another one very soon. Adios, my amigos.